We've discovered patterns.
The connection was always there.
This changes everything we thought we knew about human health.
Hello and welcome everyone to Health Revealed. My name is Cory Endrulat. I am joined by Stephanie MoDavis, Scott Gordon, and a very special guest, somebody I know who I partner with all the time. I am here sharing with you guys my interview series, and we share all sorts of amazing guests in this Health Revealed series, unique, untold perspectives to shift the current paradigm and all the institutions of our world, from the micro to the macro, the individual to the collective. And we aspire to connect the mainstream and the alternative, integrating all the different solutions. And we welcome you to participate in this whole project with us. Share your story, your resources. This is a fully independent project because we care deeply about our world, and we believe that true healing and true freedom is indeed possible. In these interviews, we also want to provide you with practical action steps that you can take in your own life to better your own health. So without further ado, our guest today is Ryan RPG Golembeske, a notable researcher, producer, and media personality best known for his work investigating Bigfoot, other cryptids, and the broader paranormal world, including appearances and behind-the-scenes roles on series such as Travel Channel's Expedition Bigfoot and other paranormal television projects. Drawing from a childhood spent exploring forests and abandoned places, he has developed a field-based, boots-on-the-ground approach that blends curiosity, disciplined observation, and respect for the natural environment. As a co-founder and collaborator on grassroots projects like Bigfoot Food Forest, one of which I'm a part of, in Newport Richey, Florida, he helps foster community spaces that reconnect people with nature, ecological stewardship, and more sustainable health-supportive lifestyles. Ryan also co-created MTV's bold 2008 series, Exiled, sending spoiled My Super Sweet 16 teens to tough spots like Maasai villages in Kenya and the Amazon to break their privilege and spark real humility. Through live events, conventions, and digital content, Golembeske continues to inspire audiences to get outdoors, challenge assumptions, and cultivate a more adventurous, resilient, and balanced relationship with both their own health and the mysteries of the wild. And so I'll be heading it over to Stephanie.
Ryan, thanks for being here. What an interesting, cool dude you appear to be.
Wow, he did that all in one breath. That was cool.
He's good. Yeah. Cory's good. So, Ryan, I got to be honest with you. As a woman, I don't know that much, and I've never been really interested in the whole Bigfoot phenomenon. But since Cory's been talking to you, I've kind of been really curious as to how Bigfoot and the concept of Bigfoot really connects to helping people get in touch with human health, each other, nature. What is the fascination? Tell me how it relates to health. Tell me how it helps people in curating a story of getting out in nature, cosmology, interested animals. Like, just tell me, what is the connection? Why are you so passionate about this?
Well, whether we like it or not, we presently live in what I would consider a fear culture. Everything's scary. Be afraid of your neighbor, be afraid of the country next to you, be afraid of the woods, be afraid of everything. So something like Bigfoot, which just from a quick glance could be portrayed as a monster, it is a nice access point back to nature, to getting back into the woods. So you're a kid, you know, and the emphasis now that I'm a father of four, proud, I love him so much, is how do you get them in? How do you make it cool going on a hike? Where before we just went on hikes because hikes are just cool. When you get up and see that beautiful vista, you're just like, wow, there is a design to this that's so beautiful. But Bigfoot is that link. If you now say, hey, when we go, we're going to call out into the night and hope that on the other side of that wall of darkness, something calls back. That triggers a rush, an adrenaline rush, which also dumps the happy feelings right afterwards. So what I believe Bigfoot does so masterfully in our fear culture is it provides the perfect mechanism to be curious about getting back into nature. And then from there, you know, once you're there, then all of a sudden you realize you're like, wait, I can take my shoes off and walk in the creek? Yeah, you can do that. Get in there. You know, then you start to notice, like my son was just handing me leaves. We just went Bigfooting and he's just collecting leaves. He's never done that. But he's like, Dad, look at the color on this. Look at this. And There's something visceral and so much better in the real world than this vicarious voyage that we've all been sold on as the greatest thing through all of our technology. So yeah, Bigfoot's just, it's fun. Bigfoot is fun. Bigfoot is scary enough. But then once you begin to dig, you realize, wow, are relic hominids real? Are there forest people? Are there people that said no to technology and yes to nature? And
Oh,
so,
that's
yeah,
such a great answer.
yeah.
That's so creative too. I mean, we were losing the creative genes that we have, and to just
Mhm.
what a creative, awesome way to get people, your kids back into nature. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit more about your TV show? Because I'm also really fascinated about that.
Oh, about Exiled.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Exiled was our baby. So, you know, we
How'd you
had a
come up with that idea?
with a group, it's always you bring people together. Before AI, people gathered and we brainstormed. We had think tanks.
Yeah.
And by tossing those ideas around, we came up with the idea that, hey, maybe there's no such thing as bad children. There's just bad
Mhm.
parenting, And I'm not saying that one in a million or billion isn't psycho, right?
Mhm.
But for the most part, with the right love and guidance, we're all capable. So we said, okay, well, what if we took someone to go live with indigenous peoples to see what would happen? And from a reality TV viewpoint, it just sounds awesome. It sounds like a train wreck that's just going to be spectacular. And
Yeah.
then when you add the element of, let's not take someone like Cory or yourself, or Scott. Let's take someone that no one would believe you should take, like the worst possible. And you started looking around, and right around that time, my Super Sweet 16 was on. And for people that haven't seen that, or a little young or a little too old, these were spoiled teenagers that for their 16 party, they wanted a black BMW, but they got a red BMW, and it's time for a meltdown. Like just the most vapid, worst ambassador you could ever imagine. But in our hearts, we said, no, there's a beautiful person inside there. They've just didn't have the right mentors. And we're talking these parents, almost all of them were wealthy. And a lot of them self-made millionaire, not old money, but made it. And they're just throwing money, whatever they want, at these kids, trying to find their happiness. But we've been sold in this idea that that we work so that we can rest and play. But
Yeah.
doing the work, whatever your work is the only thing that really makes you feel fulfilled. It's the only thing that really digs you beautiful roots and lets your culture side, whatever, see you for who you really are. So we said, okay, and we believed that it would work, but we had no idea. We were crapping on our pants a little because they're like, what if we take these wealthy kids and it's really, truly torture and we get nothing out of it and we come home? But I always ask this to people. How long do you think it took for the worst ambassadors we could possibly have sent overseas to have a change, to literally break down and go, what do I do next? Like if they said, I'll never make breakfast. Breakfast is for my butler, or I'll never go to school. I don't need to go to school. My parents are rich. I'll just take over the business, blah, 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 all that stuff. How long do you think it took to break down, fully break down? I mean, beautiful TV, emotion, everything from anger to tears to turning to me and saying, and I get to be their guardian. And it was awesome training to be a dad someday, and to look at me and go, what do I do? And I would just look at him and say, ask the community. How long do you think? Good guess from all three of you. And Cory, if I already told you, you're not allowed to say.
Well,
But an honest guess.
I'm sure there was culture shock pretty immediately, but for the recognition to really set in, I don't know, I might say like a day, 2 days.
Okay. Scott, any idea?
I'd say 3 days.
Yep. I would have said probably a week. You know what it turned out to be? Less than 24 hours, all of them. Full breakdown, full everything. Because it's not just about your parents. And God bless all parents. Anyone that takes that on is a superhero in my book. It's also seeing your culture as a parent as well. So we removed all their safety systems, all their backups, everything latching them to this persona, which nobody wanted, including themselves. And then we stuck them right there. Yeah, we put them with the Maasai. Amazing jumpers, by the way. I impressed them. I was able to jump higher than most of them. But that's a good story. I played soccer. Yeah, soccer forever. It gives you the ups. But yeah, and then this girl going, what am I fixing the side of this building with? Oh, that's a mixture of cow dung and mud. And them just being like, and they would have never. And One of the greatest moments was we took E.B. Wright, who is Eazy-E's daughter, okay, one of Eazy-E's many daughters, but took her out and we took her to Mongolia, okay? Two things about this. We horsebacked for like almost 4 hours out to go pick wild strawberries in the hills of Mongolia. I mean, it's the start of a romance novel. It was so spectacular and amazing. And I watched this young lady have such power, and I've only seen this 3 times in my life, that she was so angry, so scared, so locked in on wanting to escape and kill, that the whole world went gray. I mean it. There was no color in the world for like 5 minutes, and the whole crew, we were all, I mean, we're sitting at tables, picnicking, you know, it should have been the best day ever. And we're all looking around going, there's no color. She did that. That's how powerful each one of us are individually. Now, same girl, when we first got there, she takes off in the field, just walking, grasshoppers, thousands. It was like a Nat Geo doc that you don't want to miss. It was so beautiful. She screamed as if we were throwing glass at her and stabbing her with needles. Like, you would have thought, yeah, you would have thought she got hit by a car or something. It was crazy. Cut to the final day, hand in hand, sun setting, running, laughing again like a child. Thousands of them flying up at the sky. It's like I said, I'm getting in touch with my emotions, so I'm not going to cry, but it was that beautiful. It was hands down that beautiful. And then to bring this child home, this is even more beautiful. Present them to their parents and have these parents go, and I'm talking break down, like, don't put the camera on me. I don't want to. You took everything from them. You took everything. I gave them everything, and you brought them back the way I dreamed. We all need to be exiled at some point in our life. And for some of us, a couple of times. All I can tell you is it works. Go somewhere, go way out of your comfort zone and find out who you really are. Because I'm telling you, deep down, you're beautiful.
I love that story. And you know what's so interesting is you're right. I work more in the medical field and I do inner work, but still there's an exiling that happens when you abandon your traditional way of thinking and you start to go, you allow yourself to get overcome by the abyss. And you allow this kind of subconscious to come up and put you in unfamiliar territory. So it's so interesting. Everything you're saying, I relate to it, but from the inner journey process. And I couldn't agree with you more that your environment, a shift in your environment, it can't help but change your thinking, your emotional state, your state of gratitude. And I'm just curious, did you ever follow back up on the girls that went out to the Maasai when they got reimplanted into their traditional culture? Did you ever kind of follow up to see how they were then?
Yeah, we absolutely did. We followed them for years. We teamed up with the UN actually, and we're doing these producer journals where we like, did it work? Did it stick? Because one of my big complaints is, especially with you arrest someone, you put them in jail, then you take them out, you put them right back in the environment. What are you doing? Put them in a work program that sends them around the country, going to different new cultural groups. Changed them all. They all became, I'd like to say, the version of their parents before their parents kind of lost their way or chose a way. Big, beautiful, beating hearts, and realizing that what we live in is one kingdom. And there are lots of different kingdoms with different ways. And that's beautiful. I don't know, that kind of almost omniscient view of the world, it does something to you. It changes you. And what's great about travel, the fact that you have to be on your best, right? You don't have to, but if you are, it is a lot easier and people will help you. So yeah, they all turned out to be wonderful. I still keep in contact with 2 of them out of all of them, but that was a while ago. Now I got kids. I'm not in contact with anyone but Cory. So, can't even believe I'm here tonight.
Yeah. Wow, Ryan, that's really fascinating. Thanks for sharing all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it changes you. It's beautiful. And let me just comment though, your inner work, that's the real journey. And that's what happened. We were just by switching environments, we were able to get them to go in and go get that kid inside that's just been waiting to know, who am I? How do I belong? What do I do? And all we had to do was stick them in a community where they had the patience and the compassion to wait for all the storm to subside. And then they knew exactly when to bring them in. It's so beautiful. But,
the least popular job in all of humanity is an inner work mentor. Nobody wants to. So you doing it the way you're doing is you're kind of taking a different route in is just so incredible. So
Yeah.
thank you for all that work. It's really amazing to hear. So
Yeah. Well, thank you for being out there and doing that as well. Taking the most difficult job possible and making it your mission. That's beautiful. So
thank you,
kudos.
Ryan. Thanks.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'm curious about what you think. Like, how does society in its current state, everyday people, I mean, they're not necessarily going to go live with the tribes,
Sure.
everybody. How do you think they're going to exile? I mean, you said travel, like go someplace. Maybe you could get a bit more specific with certain ways they can have that exile experience without necessarily an inner work mentor. And maybe there's this other method of reconnecting to nature or
Yeah.
going on a Bigfoot expedition. I don't know. What would you say?
I would challenge everyone listening to do this very simple thing. Ask yourself, how many times have I gone camping solo? And that's it. You go by yourself. And then once you do that, you're going to realize really how afraid you are or not afraid you are of being alone, of facing yourself. And that's really what you ultimately learn, right? But even to be in nature, we all think it's beautiful, but do it yourself. And then once you take that step and you're okay with it, then sleep under the stars. Get rid of the tent. It's not going to protect you from any real predator anyway, but get rid of the tent and do that. You would be amazed at how hard that is just to get to the next point. And I'm going to keep getting radical with this, so you're going to enjoy this. Then go barefoot. Spend the entire day out there barefoot. When I first did that, I was so scared to death of being barefoot in nature, and it took half the day to, I'll just say all day, but it took forever to realize the reason I was actually scared to go barefoot was I thought I was going to step on glass. So I must have stepped on glass a long time ago and just didn't remember. But that is when I finally sat and I looked inward, I was like, that's actually why I'm scared, right? Then the last thing is when we're young, we're carefree and everyone accepts it, okay? And we can be as naked as babes and no one bats an eye. And then something happens in our culture where you're only allowed to do that alone in the shower or with someone you love, right? I then challenge you, spend the entire day, remote woods, nowhere where no one can find you, but completely naked. It will become the greatest therapy, the greatest thing. We all have things about us we don't like, this, that, and everything. You spend a whole day with it. Let me tell you, by the end of that day, you'll be tiptoeing at the start. You won't want to look at yourself. You'll be scared people are watching. By the end of the day, you'll be on all fours like Mowgli, right, from the Jungle Book, chasing squirrels up trees, around, running, jumping, splashing in the water. You'll go wild. And going wild is the greatest therapy you will ever do for yourself. I'm not saying you have to do it all the time. Do it once a year, but do it. Do it. It sounds funny. You're like, what? No, wait. I'm saying go in the summer, not in the winter, right? But it will be the greatest therapy, and it will help you. I can't even. Yeah, trust me. Not to dive too much into it, but when I do it, or the time that was the most profound is I camped in a hammock, and I remember at night, all alone, you're so scared that first night, and you hear nature and you hear how it works. So I hear the coyotes. Now there was the stream, then a game trail on the stream, then another game trail, then another game trail, and another game trail. And I was on the fourth one up. And I heard them coming through, and they're howling, and they're getting closer. I didn't bring any weapons. I don't believe in that, although in certain areas you should be safe. But I wanted to connect. I was also hoping to find Bigfoot. I didn't want them to think I was going to axe him. And they came, and right when they got close, silent, because the one on the top trail, because they're flushing prey, spotted me. They went quiet, and I went, here it is. I'm going to get eaten by coyotes. I'm going to get tore apart. And I even knew about coyotes, but no, in that moment, I'm dead. I'm dinner. And you know what they did? Very politely went around me, got like 100 yards, started yelping again and pushing again. I was like, wait, what? And then the deer, this massive buck came in, and I was sitting there, and I was actually trying to be one with the shadows. I was reading a book by a Native American on tracking and how to be one in the woods, because apparently if you're really skilled, you can walk up on a bedding deer that's awake and touch it before it even realizes you're there if you move and are one with nature. So I was getting really out there, and I didn't know, but it was maybe 20 feet away, not even, and it snorted. And I was so zoned out that I didn't quite hear it at first, and then it snorted again, and I panicked, right? I panicked, I fell over, I looked like a real fool in the woods, the Bigfoot. But once again, walked around and it was its woods. This happened with everything. We have a safety bubble around us. And I'm not saying there aren't some predators that would come at you, but 99% of it are just going to leave you alone. And you're going to realize that you are so uptight and so scared about all these things when you don't have to. Just being present and we are apex predators. I think people have forgotten that. We are apex predators, and we are the top, unless you believe in force people and Bigfoot and stuff like that. So you really have nothing to fear but fear itself. So yeah, it's amazing. Go naked in nature. You heard it first here. RPG in the house.
I'm guessing that this has I'm guessing that this has a profound effect on health. What would you say?
Oh, yeah, 100%. A healthy mindset. Okay, if I could give anyone really anything, is fall in love with yourself. That's not an ego thing, but love who you are. Love what your parents created, what God created, what you've created, and to fall in love or to chip away at all the things that are kind of in the way from you truly appreciating who you are, you got to strip down. And I know it's like, you're doing it physically and the work is on the inside, but by doing this strange ritual, it gets you inside. It just works. And it's how do you get the keys to your inner kingdom? And these have worked for me. And I'm not saying it would work for everyone, but you will have a story to share and you'll be amazed how good you feel. You just feel good. And that's, I don't know, people pay a lot of money for that. So imagine you can do it yourself and you just got to strip. Yep.
Well, Ryan, I mean, I was even in the river, with you, and we saw fishes come up, and you said people pay a lot of money just for that type of experience, and it's usually considered a very healthy experience. I also find it interesting that you and we live in Pasco, which is considered one of like the leading nudist parts of the world. Which
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yes. And the word also represents naturist, actually naturism, which is very interesting. It goes by two terms, nudism and naturism. I don't know if that's a coincidence with what you're saying, but regardless, I want to talk about therapies, right? Because you also have brought this upon my attention, like cold plunging or even red light therapy. Maybe these are mimicking some natural patterns. What do you think of these in light of what you've been talking about?
Well, I think a lot of trends come along and some of them work. We are this avatar that we are in. I always say, like, this is a temple. You should come to worship every day. Whoever you believe created us, they were masters, and you need to test it. You don't own a Ferrari and never take it out and really let it run, So you should do that with your body, but you should also find out what you're capable of. The greatest thing is watch kids. We teach them to be cold. They don't know how to be cold. They only know how to have fun. They only know how to play, right? And play is the one thing we should all get to because we learn the fastest through play. But yeah, when you cold plunge, one could argue that the thing that we're battling the most, or one of the things we're battling the most health-wise, is inflammation. It is the way it is. Like today is actually from Sunday night at 8 p.m. till Tuesday morning, 8 a.m., I fast every week. Every week I do a 36-hour. And, I read a study that tigers at a zoo, they did it with them and it added 5 to 6 years of life to their life. And I was like, oh, man, well, I'll do that. And yeah, you feel great. It's another healing modality, right? But when you get in that water, it also teaches you discipline. Once again, you're going to realize how soft our culture makes us, right? And I'm not saying I want to be a true Spartan, and fight and kill and hurt. I don't want to hurt anybody. But I want to be a Spartan in the inside. This is my gift, and I want it to be the best possible. So if something comes up, I can react confidently, and there's no panic, there's no fight, well, there could be fight, but there's no fight, flight, or freeze. My first reaction is always, how do I play in this situation? How do I make this fun, outside of dangerous elements? But yeah, I would say inflammation, and there are a lot of other things that it does for you, supposedly, but I wouldn't even dive into that. I'm more of a lighthouse to these things, right? I speak passionately about it and I want to bring it in, but I would turn it over to someone that could really break down how it actually affects your cells and all that stuff. But yeah, inflammation. And if you're listening, like, just start with that. That's all you need to know. You cold plunge, you're going to get some radical discipline and you're going to feel, I'll tell you this, the greatest I've ever felt in my life that I can remember is you do an authentic cold plunge for 3 minutes in 40-degree water or colder. you will leap out. First of all, when you first get in, if you have a council of people around you, so you got to sit there and pretend you're braver than you are, because I wanted to scream and leap. My whole body said, you're killing yourself. But when I got out, if I could, it's like falling in love in the first moments where you fall in love and you feel it would heal cancer immediately. That's how good you feel when you get out, and it sustains for hours, and you just feel more enlightened. You feel closer to people. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. It should be studied. Why don't they do that in school? I would have been more into school, right? But yeah, it is a true healing modality, and I do it every day. Every time I shower, I've been doing it for 5 years now. I always take a cold shower. Hate it every time. I'm just gonna be honest. Hate it every time. But I will do it every time because I want to be as healthy and as strong as I can for my family for as long as possible. So,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah,
Well, thank you for sharing. I know it is becoming a big trend as many people are
yeah,
finding out it's helping them with all sorts of health modalities. And this is
yeah.
just temperature. And then like something like red light, it's just light. And I find that fascinating, and meanwhile, looking at the sunlight and then looking at what we can have access to outdoors, it seems like all the therapies are right out there in nature. You don't even necessarily need to like fill a tub of water or buy a certain therapy
Nope,
machine. I find that
nope.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do it in the ocean. The ocean is, I would argue, even better, because why do you feel so wonderful when you go to the seashore? It's the crashing of the waves create these negative ions that literally uplift you. So now you plunge in there. It's a giant saline solution. It's a giant womb of sorts. You can't help. You can't help but feel better. Then you can get into other things, like we have bees now. So we sit out and we have coffee with the bees. A little bit of research will show you beekeepers have the longest life expectancy of any profession. Why? Then you get into frequency. And I'm going to call this now. I'm not the first, but I'm going to call it the next ice plunge or sauna. Sauna is really good for you too, especially if you're a dude. Cardiovascular health. You want to get in there every time. I forget what it is. It's like 15% lower chance of having a heart attack. You go every day almost and you're healed. But like sound bathing, where they actually have a tub and boom, 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 and it vibrates around you. That's the next thing that I think is coming, because you guys know probably better than I that, they've done research. You can go right in and kill whatever cancer cell, whatever you want, if you can direct it, like with the right machine. So I think that's coming. I think that's the next trend that I will be a part of proudly.
Nice. It's either Albert Einstein or Nikola Tesla who says the future of medicine will be frequency, vibration, and something else that he says. So yeah, I mean, that's I want to ask you a question. Your deep, rich connection with nature reminds me of my past life when I lived in Pennsylvania. I lived not far from where Cory used to live before he moved to Florida. And then he moved to Florida. I moved to Houston, Texas for a work project. And there is hardly any nature and good water or anything that you refer to here in Houston. So what do you say to the urban person who doesn't have all of this amazing nature at their fingertips? What are they supposed to do besides move out of the city?
Or take adventures on the weekend. Sure. Once again, you can just do it in your shower. If you turn your shower all the way to cold, no, is it 40 degrees? No, it is not. It doesn't matter. It will still stink every time you do it, and you will get the same effect. And it's real simple. You just stay in until it doesn't bother you anymore. Be like the kid in the water who never noticed it. Not the start, not the end. They're just pissed that they had to get out. So for a cold plunging, that is what I would do. Now, in terms of any other healing modalities, we should always, some of the greatest advice in terms of business that was given to me is the greatest thing you can do for your business is interview at least one person every day. I would almost say, or I will say, that will work just as well in life. Find one person. You don't let them know you're interviewing to see, hey, could you be a part of my tribe? But find your tribe, because I guarantee in your tribe is some knucklehead like me that's got a cold plunge, and boom, then you got it. And someone that's got a sauna. Or now with certain gyms now, they're starting to include these things in the gym. A lot of them have saunas, cold plunges coming, and then other things. So those are your best bets. You know what I mean? And fall in love with being uncomfortable. Like, you're in Arizona. My buddy lives in Arizona. You just go outside in the summer and run. Go when it's uncomfortable. Be careful.
Right.
Bring water. I'm not advocating to get psycho, but you can find ways. But you have to be curious, and it has to be. We have this RAM that's eating up all the time, right? It has to become part of that front system that's running all the time. Okay, how do I find my healing modality. And it will, and besides that, you're manifesting it. So it will come to you. It will literally, you'll bump into someone and be like, hey, I like your shirt. And be like, oh yeah, I just came from my cold plunge. You'd be like, what? And boom, that's it. And then you just have to decide, you know, do I have the time for this person? But yeah, I think you can find all these things almost anywhere if you truly, you know, lead with your heart and
right.
Yeah.
How much of this work do you think is actually, I know there's biological benefits to everything that we're talking about, but
Sure.
you know, there's this theory and this concept of ritualized discomfort as our greatest asset for evolution. So it
Sure.
seems like a lot of the things you're talking about are putting people in places of being really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To be able to then come back into that state of comfort and being almost high per se, because you kind of,
Sure.
it's like you said, getting out of the cold plunge. It's one of the greatest feelings that you've ever experienced.
Ever.
Yeah. So, and I want to ask you, you're married, right? Because you said you have 4 kids.
No, we're doing everything backwards. We had the kids, then
Okay.
we bought the house, and then if you would have told me how I could get married and then propose, we would have done it. So I proposed, but we're not married yet.
Okay. All right. So you have somebody in your life. So
Absolutely.
Did she take on as a female
Yeah.
the same exact perspectives around health as you do, or does she have some different rituals that are more suitable for her as a woman? Do you find that what you're saying is universal between sexes? Because sometimes I hear women say, well, actually cold plunging doesn't work for me, or this doesn't work for me. So I'm just curious, because you're so adventurous and you're so
Yes.
out there and have these particular
Yes.
ways of being. Is she like you, or is she a little bit different and yet complementary?
Yeah, no, she's not like me like that. No, but if we got one and we got it in the house, she would eventually do it once in a while for things. And where I will give her credit, or I think I'll give most people credit, if she really needed it, right, she would do it. She has a courage and that's one of the reasons I fell in love with her, because I test people. So when I would go on dates, I would go on a very difficult climb. That's more of like a stumble up a side. And she did it in booty shorts. You know what I mean? So yeah, she would do it. But no, we're our own people, and she appreciates it. Like what's one of the sexiest thing about people besides confidence? It's being passionate about something. Even if you're not into it, it inspires you to maybe be a little more passionate what you're into. So no, she hasn't taken on those, but she does love nature very much, and she's a believer now in Bigfoot, because we had a Class A sighting on our property, and yeah, there's 2 ways people get into Bigfooting. It's either you see one, or you watch like the Patterson Gimlin film, or some kind of movie that moved you and went like, wow, that's real. So yeah. No, we're very different. But
very cool. But she's given birth, so obviously she's had some real ritualized discomfort.
I think that is so uncomfortable that you don't need all the rest of that crap. You don't need it.
She's already hit the pinnacle.
And she's done it 4 times. And I'll tell you, for people that haven't experienced it yet or will, I was so scared of that, because you watch videos of other people and you're like, I'm going to throw up, I'm going to pass out. It is the most beautiful and impressive thing any human being can do. Women that give birth are the greatest athletes on earth, and that's a gift, you know, and there's a reason they do it, because I ain't doing that, you know. But it is so beautiful, and those last 20 minutes or half hour after just writhing in pain for however long it is, and they lock in, most incredible thing on earth. So hands down, superhero. Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah, I want to delve into something you also mentioned to me, Ryan, is your daily morning drink, right? Something that there you go, you got a drink right now. It's probably not it,
Agua.
but
No. Agua.
it's a little bit more complicated than that. But, you know, a lot of people I meet, people who are very passionate, doing a lot of great work like you're doing, traveling the world, always meeting new people. It's like, you got to wonder, where are they getting their energy from? I mean, I know Jim Gale, someone we brought on to the Health Revealed interview series before, and he drinks a certain cocktail every single day. And then I met you, and you're like, I drink a certain thing every single day. So do you mind sharing that with the audience?
So yes, absolutely. And yeah, it's a fun question, because I'm still developing this drink. So any wisdom you guys have to share, I'm totally open to. Yes, I started with water and salt. Salt with every meal, says it in the Bible, like salt every meal. So I was like, why can't I salt a little bit of water? You know, that's what we begin to lose, some of the salt in our day. So it started with salt. And then I was like, well, what can I add to this? So then I started adding turmeric and cayenne. You know, I'm also hyper aware, not yet the vigilant that I need to be of parasites. That's something that, you go to another country and they're like, oh yeah, we do a parasitic cleanse every 6 months or twice a year, whatever. Here, people are like, parasites? What's a parasite? I'll tell you what a parasite is. It's probably the demons that they all talk about in all these books.
Yeah.
You're right? These things will take you over, control you, and kill you slowly. But anyway, so I'm thinking energy, I'm thinking parasitic cleanse, I'm thinking working on inflammation, just all the things, feel good, just coffee to me, I drink coffee, and if it's on an empty stomach or I don't add some kind of protein or something to it, I don't feel good on it. So it's never really worked for me. So what do? So add salt, turmeric, cayenne. I even add baking soda, the edible kind that you can add, which miraculous effect. Like, as we know, everything starts in the gut biome. You're healthy here, it spreads to the extremities. So on top of that, we add coconut oil or olive oil. Back in the day, I used to do a shot of olive oil every morning. I will tell you this, whoever's listening to this, if you are the gassiest person you've ever met, do a shot of olive oil in the morning, gas gone, gone, gone. It's amazing. So I add a little bit of that. And then the misses, just because and you drink it, you put in 1 full cup. That's the first thing you drink in the morning. And it was hard to get down. Chia seeds as well, nature's Ozempic. That's what they say. And we now add 3/4 water and 1/4 coconut water. And that sweetness, and honey from our land, because you want to build up natural immunities to your allergies and everything. If you can get honey that's kind of from your general area, you're eating your allergens, and that's the way that works, right? You're just chipping away at it so that you're strong. So we put this into this cocktail. We stir it up every morning, and we actually do this thing that's beautiful where we cheers it and then wrap our hands around so we're close to each other. I always try to go for the kiss, and then we chug it. Go. And I try to beat her ass every day, but she usually beats me. She's from Minnesota, so she spent a few days in the bars, all I can tell you is I listen and I like mentorship and stuff, but when you accept this one kind of truth, which is almost everything you've ever been taught by the mainstream, not by people like yourselves, is a lie. Almost everything you've been taught is a lie, and you have to rebuild your belief system. You begin to very naturally start trusting your gut again. And I literally have been letting my gut kind of lead me around on things, and it's profound how it's, I like to believe it's my ancestors or our divine connection to everything and all of us all at the same time. And you can just kind of pull from that wisdom if you're in tune with it. So I trusted my gut. I just started adding these things. And then all of a sudden I'll see online, when you do this, this, and this, it's like a natural energy drink. So I was like, wow, I do feel energized after this. And if you add this and this, inflammation and whatnot. So yeah, it's my everything drink. And imagine starting your day by going alkaline, basically, like finding homeostasis within your own body before you dump it in. And the other thing that it gives you is by doing that, by starting off with this bit of discipline, because no, it isn't fun. It's not like a drink you're going to want to chug anywhere. You have better discipline throughout the day. And that's where we all need it. Our culture makes it very easy to eat horrible. And, so yeah, it's an awesome drink. And I feel great afterwards.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I want to talk about the natural health field as a whole. I mean, you've done some investigation into this. What do you feel like is missing from the natural health field as a whole? Do you feel like there's any particular conversations? I know you shared with me some insights about hyperbaric chambers and
don't get me going on that.
What I think, this is your opportunity to share with an audience of people who are very, skeptical about current mainstream health systems, but also people who already follow a lot of alternative health systems. And you come from a very outside point of view, studying Bigfoot and things that aren't necessarily studied in other communities that we're connected with. So what would you have to say, in regards to the alternative health movement?
What is missing is we are social animals, and we follow, whether we like that or not, we follow trends and, just be, that's neat. Let's try it. We need more influencers. We need the people that have the true followers that people are actually watching to make it cool. That's it. It's all there. It's it's like you say yourself, Cory, like it's simple. We overcomplicate everything, and we've literally set our lives on cruise control and let everyone else make all the choices so we can have more time for us. When the irony is, it's the work you put in and the wisdom you gather that makes you the mentor luminary in the space, in your space. So yeah, I think the only thing missing, because there's lots of people talking about it, and these things, you can find them all, but we need the big names to go, hey, I made this crazy drink while I was naked camping in the woods, and it changed me. Suddenly, naked camping and drinking weird drinks in the woods will be the thing. And yeah, and it will trickle down all the way down to where kids. You know, my kids, they're saying 6, 7. Okay, we're homeschooled. They shouldn't have anything to do with that, but they hear it on the playground. They hear it. It trickles all the way up from the Hollywood media moguls, all the way down to my kids that I have shielded and protected as best as I can. If a message of true health came all the way down from there, yeah, my kids would be running around saying, barefoot for life, you know, cold plunge tonight. And that's it. I don't think anything's missed. Now, we can dive into things like hyperbaric chambers and these other stuff that I think people should know about. But no, the number one key thing is we need the largest voices to start saying the best stuff. That's it. Not all of it. I'm not saying don't spend your time doing all the stuff that we consider fun, but throw that in there too. Spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. They can make true change.
Right. Now, you mentioned your kids as well, if you don't mind going into that. I mean, having 4 kids, you know, for a lot of people, it's like, oh, I don't even want any kids in my generation. You know, they're like, I don't even want to get married. I don't want to have kids. Yeah. So I'll talk about that. I mean, you seem like a busy man, but I'm with you a lot. And I'm like, man, I'm impressed. I'm inspired. I actually have fun with your kids too. And so what do you do for their health and schooling?
Yeah, well, we try our darndest. I would be lying if I said they're eating a pure diet, animal fats, you know, eggs every day, everything. No, they still cheat. They still eat garbage, I would say, and we experiment with it. And some days you're too tired and you let them get away with it. But at the end of the day, their greatest influence, you know, the missus and I, we talk about it, right? I think it's communication. So I say, hey, you can have these store brand Cheetos, not the main ones, but the other ones. But here's what's in it. So they're learning about red dye 7 and yellow 4 and all these things that I'm telling you. And then what I try to say to them afterwards is, watch how you feel. I'm just trying to put them in their body, get them out of cruise control, get them just like, and they're young. They're 7, 6, 5, and 2. So, you know, but that's the little voice that's in the RAM that's going to be going, oh, how do I feel when I eat this? Because it's obvious. It inflames you almost immediately. I can tell you what's going to happen with 2 of them when they eat too much sugar. They're going to go crazy, right? And it wows me that people are dumbfounded by that, because it literally is, you eat your disease. You eat the trouble that you get into. So we mostly try, we have chickens, as you know, so we're always trying to get eggs into them. If I had to pick one thing, like an egg is a superfood. It does everything. So eggs, first and foremost. Now, you know, there's this debate on veggies and oxalates and all that, but you can steam it and then it's better for you, or versus meat and whatnot. Presently, where I am, I'm an omnivore where I am as a man, but there's a direct correlation between caloric intake and life expectancy. So if you're going to take it, I would advise you take something that carries more power, more longevity in terms of keeping your hunger off than anything else. So I try to get them, I try to build their meals around some kind of protein source. That's where I start. And then I build out from there. And then if time I find out that isn't, I'll change it and I'll apologize immediately. I will own it. But for now, my gut and my research is telling me that that's the top of the pyramid, and then everything else kind of comes from there. And I got a best friend who'll fight me on it till the day he dies, that I'm wrong and it's all wrong. And look at your teeth and look at this. And I'm like, I can tell you how I feel when I eat one way and when I eat another way. I can tell you how my kids act. I can tell you how quickly they get hungry again, and all of that based on what they're putting in them. Now, coupling that with homeschooling, right? You know, people say, oh, how are they going to be socialized? How are they going to be this? We take them everywhere. We take them to the playground. We take them everywhere. You watch my kids know how to go over to a complete group of strangers and go, hey, how's it going? Can I play with you? Dude, not to get emotional, because like, I can't talk kids because I'm so proud, and I'm so proud of everyone raising their kiddos. But that level of confidence, I wish I had that growing up. You know, I had to fight for it. I had to pretend. They don't pretend. They got it already, you know? So anyway, but getting them barefoot, getting them out there, encouraging them when they play that it's okay to fail and that it's okay to meet people. Not everyone's going to like you. You know, taking rejection, that's huge. Nonverbal communication, conflict resolution, these things that are, I don't remember anyone teaching me that in school. I had to learn by getting punched in the face, you know, or running away real fast. But with them, we have the conversation. Once again, it's a conversation, and I do my best. I still yell, I still get outraged, you know. But I try not to talk down. I try to be there. Like Cory and I today, we had a great hug, and it was like, Cory, I'm not going to make the mistake with you, which is one of the few things that I regret about my relationship with my grandparents. They could never accept any wisdom, and I'm a world traveler. I go out. It's not my wisdom. I went and got it from someone way smarter than me. They couldn't accept it because they were always looking down. And I want my kids to know that we're equal. So it's going to get me. We're equal, and you will always be equal. And I'm waiting for them to give me wisdom, you know?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
I just want to say in response to that is I've never had kids, but currently I'm helping to raise my niece and her friend who are 17 to 19. And
Beautiful.
What you just said is how I'm approaching this is I'm literally looking at them as wisdom teachers to me, just as much as anything I say to them. And I'm very aware of my own projections with them. And, you know, not to get too sensitive or personal, but I grew up learning by contrast, really learning by what I didn't get and what I didn't want. And there was a lot of unawareness, even though we can say our parents did the best that they could, perhaps. I think what we're doing is I'm seeing this in your discussion is we're coming into conscious awareness, and we're raising our kids with awareness and giving them what we didn't have. And it's changing the dynamic. And hopefully we don't have to keep learning by contrast and suffering and unawareness if we do the way that it appears that you're doing it. So that's awesome. And it just delights me as a woman and somebody who's helping to raise her niece now that's just come from a complicated environment to be able to look at her and say, you teach me so much. Your wisdom is so valuable to me as an adult. You can just see that she lights up because she didn't really hear that before. So now all of a sudden she has meaning in her world because, like you said, I'm not looking down at her. I'm looking at her and even looking up to her as a profound teacher and reflection for my own behaviors. So super kudos to you. That's awesome.
And super kudos to you. Respect is a powerful communication tool that can open so many doors, especially with children that can slam them in your face real quick. But when they realize they're being heard, what do we all want? We want to be seen for who we are, and we want to be heard for what our authentic voice is at that moment in our life. Listen, life's amazing. You're going to get to be the villain at some points. You're going to get to be the hero. You're going to get to be sad. You're going to get to be so happy. That's the journey, and it's tumultuous. It's up and down. But to have people that care about you standing there going, no matter where you go, I love you. And yeah, that's wisdom beyond. Yeah. So anyway, can't talk too much. I'm gonna get real emotional.
Yeah, well, you brought it up as well when you were talking Bigfoot Food Forest, right? This is a project that you and I both share, and I want to ask you, well, what does it mean to you, and how does it relate to health? Not to kind of put you on the spot, and maybe you're going to rehash some of the previous points you made, but I think it's a whole project that, you know, we envision a place where people can gather, where parents can learn about homeschooling, where they can learn about these things. So what do you think, how it relates to this conversation?
Yeah, well, in terms of health, like I said, you should be interviewing and finding your tribe, because we are social animals and we need a tribe around us. Yes, we're all capable of going at this alone. We're that badass. We really are. But why? If you don't have to, just having people in proximity to you, you know, when they made us all stand over 6 feet away, that was for a reason, because it's 6 feet that you can feel each other without knowing. So just having that around you is going to make you feel better. After all of our meetings, after being with our people, and now you add like-minded people, wow, that takes the feeling to even another thing. And then people who enlighten you. You know, when you share insights, Cory, it lights up. I'm like something goes off, and my curiosity, which our culture really tries to get rid of that and say, no, it's all figured out. We got that figured out. Yeah, we got that. No, never lose your curiosity. That is outside of, you know, and never lose your ability to play. And that's the other thing. We come together, and we play. And where do we play? We play in the dirt. Before I feel like our culture really went on cruise control. We all played in the dirt. We all got dirty. We had a healthy gut biome. We had healthy because we were a part of nature. And, you know, if you really do take a step back and look, like they've got us in a car with rubber tires, so you're not going to feel the bioelectric field and all that stuff. We wear shoes with rubber soles, which are coffins for your feet. We go into a house that isolates us from the temperatures and the changes and all the things that would naturally take this avatar and challenge it. We are entertained by a flat 2D screen that makes it so that, you know, that the wanderlust that we should all have is just, you know, I can just sit here and do it. It leads us towards this laziness. And when we gather and commune as a Bigfoot nature fellowship, we literally become enlightened by just simply having participation. Now, on top of that, we're planning things. You know, we're learning about native foods and native species and how to grow food. The best analogy is like we get in cars, okay? And we don't really think anything about it. It's almost, I got to drive to work. Oh, I got to go to the store. I got to this. Okay, back up. I want to swear I won't. It's a rocket ship. You can get into an air conditioned, put any kind of tunes you want. It is amazing. Like, amazing. We should be, every time we get in a car, we should be like, wow, this is crazy. I can't believe this is legal. The same thing should be with food and growing your own food, watching life come up that you can then take and eat. You did that. You did that. You don't just have to have babies. You can have baby bananas, baby carrots, baby all these things. And if we can learn to like fall back in love with that, which a group of people who are all into it, but for their own reasons, it makes you're naturally, you can try and stop it, but you're going to fall in love with nature. And that's it. The nature is the answer. As Cory says, once you get in there, all the health modalities, everything begins to open up. Your discipline comes back. You want to perform. You want to be a part of a tribe. And so the beauty of a Bigfoot food forest or any kind of gathering of like-minded folk is that, yeah, it's our church. You know, not everybody does it the traditional, call it the traditional way. We find our church elsewhere, and our church is in the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
The way it's meant to be, I like to say.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like you're reversing the order and you're making it coherent again. So instead of like working and then getting out on nature or going on a vacation to reconnect, it's like, no, our connection actually is here. And we do all that other stuff to, like as a break. So it's like you're inverting the natural order. And I love that. And makes me miss back home, Cory, a little bit, PA, because we had great hiking trails and we had such great nature. Houston, Texas doesn't have the best. I don't travel that much right now, but you're definitely inspiring me to get out and find some good outdoors. So thank you so much, Ryan.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I love you, girl. No problem.
I'm going to probably take a cold shower after this. I'll be honest with you. So finally, I mean, I have one last question for you. You have a Bigfoot workout, and this is something actually I want to show to our audience, and maybe at some point in time.
Wow.
But yeah, you're a pretty jacked guy. Like in person and on your videos, I've actually had people reach out to me, and if they're like, "Oh man, he's really buff. Like, what does he do?" So people have actually asked. So do you want to maybe share about your Bigfoot workout, or as you call it, at least you told me, maybe some of the things you've done for that?
Sure. We all have different shapes and forms, okay? But all of us can be fit. And we all have certain aspects of ourselves that are beautiful. Like we're all beautiful, but certain that are better. Like look at my thighs or look at my butt. You know, like everyone's got something. I would be lying if I didn't say genetically, I am naturally very muscular. Like my dad's sister, she worked out once and never touched weights again because her arms were like. So in terms of just muscularity, I was born with that advantage, which is awesome. I work out because if I don't, I have a temper. It will just, one of my things that I know about myself through numerology is that everything is like kind of starts as an attack. I guess I can't change that, but I can manage it and understand it. So I started with a good base, but I should have gone pro playing soccer. Like I should have been a professional athlete, but I blew my knee out. And I blew my knee out because I didn't have the right mentors guiding me to stretch, eat right, and all those things, rest correctly. But what I did keep from when I was very young in my basement, benching comic books, 70-pound comic book thing. I have never stopped. Okay. Exercise, we're just looking at exercise and cardiovascular. It should be a lifelong thing. Even if it's, listen, I'm really busy and I make time. Like after this, do you think I want to go to the gym, work out, and then sit in a sauna? I hate saunas. 20 minutes in a sauna, that's torture for me. We should put a video on me doing it because it's hilarious. I'm a squirmer. I'm like, oh my God, kill me now. But I will. I will, because I know what it does for me. And you're right. You're right. You don't even know when you're inspiring people, but you are at all times, especially if you're standing as your authentic self. And I am an athlete. I will always be an athlete, and I will be proud to attempt, you know, and there's times, trust me, every time the missus got pregnant, I put on the weight too. I got the couve. All right. Let me tell you, I love a midnight run to 7-Eleven. Let's go. But after kind of taking a long time, almost 10 years, I am back. And we look at each other every time we get back from the gym because we're always tired. We never want to go. And we look at each other and we go, I feel great, don't you? She's like, oh yeah, I feel great. You feel great. So now, with all that said, I always say, I call it the gymnast principle, which is really what the Bigfoot workout is. If you look at gymnasts, yes, they're many people, but they are the most beautifully built people, and their arms, everything about them, whatever they need to use to do their exercise is great. So what are they doing? They are just holding positions. So if you wanted any advice, people think you got to go throw heavy weight around and all that. And no, you take whatever weight you can do that you feel comfortable with, and I like to say, like, make love to the weights. Don't have sex with the weights. Make love to them. Like, really, really try to feel your body and every muscle fire. Fall in love with your body. Be like, wow, this is amazing. And lose yourself in it. You know, if I was to give anyone like a good routine just to get fit, and this is the cheapest way too, get an exercise bike, and you can find them, you know, a marketplace or anything. You can find them for cheap. Put it in front of your TV. We all love our TV, our Netflix, our Stranger Things. We love that. And get 2 dumbbells, lightweight. Like for me, honestly, I never go higher than 15 pounds. Okay. But I'm talking 2.5, 2, 1. And you sit on that bike and put on your favorite movie, your favorite show, and just start riding. Eventually you'll go to where you need no distractions and you can be truly in the moment in nature and everything. But to start, do what's comfortable for you and just sit there and never stop working out. And you'll watch really kind of quickly. You'll go from, oh my God, like 5 minutes. You'll realize you have all these mental barriers. You are a Bigfoot. You are an athlete. Everyone, I hate people say I'm not an athlete. Oh yeah, you are. You are. You've just been, dude, the worst bullies we have in our life are ourselves. Okay. You got to shut the hell up and talk to me. I'll tell you. And you just start going. And before you know it, you'll sit and watch a 2-hour movie and work out the whole time and not even realize it. And so the Bigfoot workout is more about being present in your own body. I believe that relic hominids they went inward, you know, they don't speak as much because it's easy to deceive and all this. They're physical beings that are defined through action. So when you take action, do it deliberately and powerfully and make love to those actions. And yeah, it will happen. You will be great. Dude, I have people coming up to me all the time at the gym being like, hey man, I want to ask you questions. Because what's interesting is when you zone out and you really get into something, you're more approachable too, for some reason. You know, you see people like, and I don't know, it's wonderful. So yeah, Cory, you got to come with me. We got to come and do it. I also, at this point, I do what most people would do like over the course of a whole week, and I do the whole thing in an hour or less. I just hammer it to the point of almost throwing up, like but not really, but just like, you're like, whoa, I got to take a minute. Let me stare at social media, you know, 40 minutes later, what the hell happened? But yeah, that's, the gymnast principle or the Bigfoot principle, which is fall in love with the rhythm of it and feeling your body and what it's like, because you are all beautiful. And that's what goes back to camping and figuring out, fall in love with yourself, be proud of who you are. Once you get it, then you'll be like, oh my God, that's wildly important. But yeah, yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Ryan,
so
you are
much.
just straight up making love to life, and I love it. It's very, very evident.
Yeah,
Your energy just
yeah.
beams it, and man, we need more of that. So you've been a phenomenal guest and inspiration for anybody that watches this. So.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
Yeah.
Is there any final comments you want to make, Ryan, Scott, Stephanie? I really appreciate you being here, Ryan, sharing your insights with us. Really incredible stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'll just tell the audience, if you're asking someone who's traveled the world and made a career out of looking for relic hominids or Bigfoot, Sasquatch, they're real. They are. I've had wild encounters that say we do this again. I will tell you guys about some, or just look any podcast or anything I'm on. We talk about it all the time. I would like to say, if you'd like to see something truly inspirational, my latest documentary is called My Bigfoot Life. And in a nutshell, we took a young boy. So, okay, I was supposed to be the next hot shit on TV, the number one Bigfooter in the world, essentially. And I got sick and I fell out and I went into a wild depression. Okay. And long story short, 2 years later, I found out that the day that I died on TV, this young boy, this young neurodivergent young man from the UK who would only talk to his family and stuff, I'm talking hiding under the bed, kicking and screaming out like, a parent's nightmare, walked by the doorway when his grandfather was watching the very first episode, the only episode I was in, and said, "What is that?" And he said, "It's Bigfoot." And he said, and they watched the episode and said, "Can I do this, Grandpa?" Cut to 3 years later, a little less than 3 years later, he's speaking in front of 3,000 plus people. It is inspiring. It is moving. It is wonderful. If you want, not all of us live in four walls. This is what his father says. Beautiful quote. Some of us have to find our own way to educate, and his was in nature with me. So My Bigfoot Life, it's on Amazon, it's on YouTube. Bring a box of tissues because it's wildly emotional, but it's also beautiful and inspiring, and we can all be inspiring. You just got to find the right people around you to look up or look at you, not down at you. That's it.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ryan. Ryan,
Yeah.
RPG, Golembeske, everybody. Check him out. Find him on all
Bigfoot,
different
I'm a gator.
platforms.
Yeah.
There it is. IMDb, you got all the movie database pages as well. Check out My Bigfoot Life. I appreciate everybody for watching. If you want to find more interviews like this, healthrevealed.org. That's healthrevealed.org. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Take care.